What does a woman truly need from a man? It's not money. It's not looks. It's not even a great sense of humor. Those are just entry-level qualities. They spark initial interest, sure, but what keeps a woman around for the long run is energy. Not the loud, chest-thumping, alpha male act. Not the overly agreeable, nice guy routine either, but the calm, grounded energy of a man who is solid. Solid in his emotions, solid in his decisions, solid even when he's rejected. She's drawn to peaceful confidence, a man who doesn't need to prove himself, who doesn't chase, doesn't control, doesn't cling to outcomes. She wants a man who can lead without dominating, listen without losing himself, love without depending. To put it simply, a woman is drawn to the kind of man she can't emotionally control. And here's the ironic twist. The more a man tries to do everything right, the more he tries to win her over, the more he kills the very thing that made him attractive in the first place. So let me ask you, straight up, are you loving her? Or just trying to be accepted by her? Because if it's the second, you've already lost before it even began. If this made you swallow hard, you're not alone. Many men have been right where you are, doing everything right, and still watching her grow distant. This video is for you to finally untangle that knot. And if you're tired of the sugar-coated advice, of playing roles that aren't you, then hit subscribe. Not because I need your sub, but because maybe for the first time, you're hearing what you actually needed to hear. 1. Silence has a sound of its own. Every morning at exactly 8:03 a.m., Ryan would send her a message. Not 8 o'clock, not 8:05, 8:03, like clockwork, nothing fancy. Just, good morning, hope you slept well. It became a routine, predictable, familiar. Until today. Today, Ryan didn't text. Not because he was upset, not because he was playing games, but for the first time, he simply didn't feel the need to. He woke up, made coffee, meditated for 10 minutes, read a few pages from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and started his day calmly. Then, at 8:47 a.m., she texted him first. One word, hey, but behind that one word was a question. Why didn't he text me today? So, what changed? The mystery activates her mind. Research from psychological science shows that emotional uncertainty increases how much we think about someone. Ryan's silence wasn't loud. It wasn't cold. It was just empty space. And that space pulled her into her own imagination. What's he thinking? Is something wrong? Did he stop needing me? He broke the pattern and created a pull. According to expectancy violation theory, when a familiar behavior is disrupted, the brain immediately redirects attention. Ryan used to text first. Then, he didn't, and she felt that emotional absence. Her mind started racing to fill in the gaps. Her brain sensed an information gap. Information gap theory explains, when we sense missing data, our brain becomes restless, driven. To resolve it, Ryan's silence left a question unanswered. And when the mind can't rest, emotion takes over. Most importantly, His silence wasn't manipulation. He didn't ghost. He wasn't faking distance to get a reaction. He was just grounded. Women sensed this kind of silence deeply. She didn't feel rejected. She felt like he no longer needed her to feel whole. When your silence comes from inner strength, a woman doesn't feel abandoned. She feels left behind. And that is what makes her want to move toward you again. 2. Those who don't explain themselves command the most respect. Last Thursday, at exactly 6:42 p.m., James sat across from Rachel at a cozy Mexican spot in East Village. Taco Tuesday. Cheap. Margaritas. Good vibes. They were laughing, talking about random things. That kind of light, effortless conversation. Then, completely out of nowhere, she said, "You're not like other guys. Or maybe you're just better at hiding it." And she stared. Testing. James didn't flinch. He just smiled, took a slow sip of his margarita, and said, "Maybe. No defense. No scrambling. No, I swear I'm different." Speech. He let the curiosity float, like steam off a hot bowl of salsa. That silence? It wasn't passive. It was power. But why does not explaining carry so much strength? Because in a world where everyone's screaming to be understood, the quiet one is the one people lean in to hear. When a man doesn't justify, doesn't rush to defend himself, he's sending a subtle but incredibly powerful signal. I know who I am. I don't need your agreement to validate that. And this isn't just theory. It's biology. In neuroscience, there's a concept called social hierarchy detection, the brain's subconscious system for ranking social power. Our minds scan for microsignals to decide who's grounded and who's reaching. And one of the loudest signals: who feels the need to explain themselves and who doesn't. When you justify, you're putting yourself in the defendant's chair, asking not to be convicted. But when you don't, you're showing the other person they don't get to be the judge in your story. Instead, you invite them beside you, not to face off, but to look in the same direction. And that is what creates curiosity, pull, and respect. A 2012 study from Stanford University found that in emotionally charged situations, the person who speaks less but remains calm is consistently seen as the one with the real power. Silence isn't a void, it's a frame. And inside that frame, people start painting their own image of you. That's why, to a woman, a man who embraces stillness doesn't come off as distant. He comes off as unattached to her gaze. And women, through intuition, feel that almost instantly. So when Rachel looked at James and didn't get the reaction she was testing for, she leaned in, not with her body, but with her mind. And the irony? The less he tried to prove he was different, the more she felt he was point one. Women don't chase chaos. They're pulled toward calm. It was 8:11 a.m. Emma had sent a vague, emotionally charged message. "I guess I'll stop bothering you then." No context, no follow-up. Most guys would panic. Start typing a paragraph. "Wait, what's wrong? Did I do something? I didn't mean to upset you." But Tom, he read the message, put his phone down, and made coffee. He didn't reply right away. Not because he was cold, but because he was centered. See, women aren't drawn to noise. They're drawn to stability. In a chaotic world. The man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't spiral into anxiety in every emotional ripple, becomes magnetic. Not because he's playing hard to get, but because he's hard to shake. And there's science behind this. Research published in the Journal of Neuroscience reveals that emotional unpredictability triggers anxiety circuits in the brain, especially in relational contexts. In contrast, consistent emotional cues calm the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and insecurity. Translation: your calm calms her, even when she doesn't know she needs it. She may test you. She may throw in some passive-aggressive texts, a cold shoulder, a weird vibe, not because she wants you to lose your center, but to see if you have one. And if you stay anchored, she loses interest in the game and starts trusting the man. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The modern version? Don't let a text dictate your peace. Let her chaos crash into your calm. Because when the storm meets something, it can't move. It softens. Women are not attracted to men who react. They're pulled toward men who remain. A man who doesn't chase confusion, doesn't crumble under pressure, becomes the reference point in her emotional landscape. And when she realizes she can't shake you, she stops trying and starts respecting. Too. Not moving doesn't mean not moving forward. Every morning at 6:05, Elijah goes for a walk. No headphones, no podcast, no distractions. Just him, his breath, and the sound of the sidewalk under his feet. He's not posting about it, not sharing his routine online. He's just doing the work quietly. His ex? She hasn't heard from him in weeks. No texts, no birthday message, not even a hey. But make no mistake, Elijah's not stuck. He's building, not moving. Doesn't mean not moving forward. This is where most men get it wrong. They think being stoic means sitting still, doing nothing. But real stillness, real non-reactivity, is powered by movement within. It's not laziness. It's inner traction. You're not chasing her because you're busy, building the foundation of who you're becoming. And here's the kicker. Women can feel that. They can sense when a man is still, but not stagnant. When his silence is full of focus. When his calm hides momentum. Neuroscience backs this up. The mirror neuron system in the female brain is finely tuned to detect purposeful energy, especially when it's not being broadcast. She may not consciously notice your discipline, but her nervous system will. It's the emotional version of hearing music in another room. You don't see it, but something inside you feels it. That's the power of grounded men. The Stoics knew this long before brain scans existed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea still falls around it." Stillness is not the absence of action. It's action without anxiety. You don't chase her, not because you're bitter, but because you're busy with your mission. And when she looks over her shoulder, she won't see a man stuck in place. She see a man in motion, without noise. And that's what pulls her curiosity and earns her respect. Because in true stillness, there's always a kind of motion no one else sees. Not everyone who's standing still is stuck. And not everyone who's quiet isn't moving forward. That's where most men get it wrong. They think, if I'm not reacting, not chasing, not showing up loud, I'm losing. But sometimes, stillness is the strongest move you can make. You don't need to do something to be powerful. Sometimes, just holding your ground says everything. And if you really want to see what that looks like, let me tell you a story. It's about a guy named Noah. Nothing flashy, pretty average, actually. But in silence, he changed everything. The breakup that didn't break him so. This is about Noah. Noah's 32, works in IT, lives in Chicago. Decent job, decent apartment, slightly below average coffee making skills. But about a year ago, Noah got dumped. Now, not the dramatic screaming in the street kind of breakup. It was worse. It was quiet. One morning, his girlfriend of 2 years, Jenna, looked at him over breakfast and said, "I just don't feel it anymore." No warning, no fight, just nothing. And here's the thing. Noah had been trying to be the good guy, sending good morning texts, asking how her day was, backing off when she was moody, stepping up when she needed. He did all the right things, and still, she drifted. That's when it hit him. He'd been loving her, but only as long as Womberesh. She approved. He wasn't grounded. He was reacting. For the first few weeks, Noah spiraled. He Googled stuff like how to get her back without looking desperate. Text to make her miss you. What does it mean when she watches your story but doesn't reply? And then one night, 2 a.m., insomnia and too much bourbon, he stumbled onto a video about Stoicism. It said, "You are not disturbed by events, but by your opinion about them." That line stuck. So Noah started small. No texting her, no stalking her stories, no obsessing over mixed signals. He didn't fake distance. He just came back to himself. Morning walks, breath work, journaling with a pen that barely had ink left. He stopped explaining, stopped defending, stopped hoping for a reaction. And something weird happened. Janet texted him. Just, "Hey." That was it. But he didn't answer right away. Not because he was playing games, but because he was making scrambled eggs. For the first time in months, his world didn't revolve around her texts. That's when the shift began. Noah realized silence, when it comes from strength, doesn't push people away. It draws them in. He wasn't loud, wasn't trying to prove anything. He was just still, and she felt it. Because here's the thing, no one teaches men. The man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't rush to explain, who doesn't move unless it's on purpose, is the one people can't stop thinking about. When stillness starts to move, the funny thing is, Noah never replied to that. Hey, not out of pride, but because he didn't need to anymore. Something in him had shifted. He didn't want her back just to feel wanted. He wanted himself, and he was finally learning how to show up for that guy Dot. So instead of chasing texts, Noah started chasing reps. He joined a small boxing gym 2 blocks from his apartment. Nothing fancy, just sweat and real people. He stopped posting growth quotes and started living them. He relearned how to be bored without reaching for his phone. And when work got stressful, he didn't spiral. He breathed through it. People noticed. His friends said he looked different. Not in a makeover kind of way, but in a you feel solid kind of way. Even Jenna messaged again. This time longer. More vulnerable Dot, but now Noah wasn't trying to win her back, because he finally got it. Real strength isn't chasing connection. It's creating gravity. He didn't need to prove he'd changed. He was change in progress. One night, walking home after a late gym session, he sat by the river. Cold breeze, city lights flickering off the water Dot, and he thought, I'm not stuck. I'm just growing in silence. That's the thing no one tells you about men like Noah. They don't glow up on Instagram. They build in quiet. And when they emerge, it's not to impress Dot, it's to lead themselves. The Stoic said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. And that's what Noah was finally doing. Not performing calm. Not pretending confidence. Just showing up Dot, still Dot, but in motion. Because the man who doesn't explain, who doesn't flinch, who holds still while the world tests him, isn't lost. He's becoming Dot. So maybe you're a little like Noah. You tried. You explained too much. You apologized for existing. You thought love was something you earned if you just did everything right Dot. And when that still didn't work, you started asking yourself, is something wrong with me? But maybe nothing's wrong. Maybe you just never learned how to sit in silence, how to be still, not out of fear, but from strength. How to stop chasing validation and start building your own gravity. Because the real shift, it doesn't come when she texts back or when she regrets walking away Dot. It comes when you realize you're okay Dot, with or without the message, with or without applause, with or without anyone needing you. And that moment, that's when you become the man who doesn't panic, doesn't chase, doesn't explain. You become the man who's quiet but in motion, not loud but undeniably present. And women? Yeah, they feel that Dot, not because you're faking calm, but because calm has become your new normal. The guy who used to sit there waiting for her to come back now gets up early and moves his life forward. He doesn't make noise. He makes progress, and it shows. That's the thing about Stoic men. They don't tell you what they're becoming. They become Dot. So maybe now the question isn't, how do I get her back? Maybe it's this. What kind of man am I becoming when no one's watching? If something in this video felt like it was meant for you, or even just gave you a pause to reflect, drop a like. Leave a comment. I actually read them. And if you want more real talk like this, hit subscribe and maybe share it with a brother who's going through it too. Thanks for watching till the end. See you in the next one.